The self-improvement industry in the UK is a £12 billion market. Yet, despite the endless supply of podcasts and frameworks, most viewers are experiencing a massive gap between the advice they consume and the results they actually see in their own lives. For those between 18 and 30, motivation fatigue has become the default state. You feel a brief surge of inspiration from a video, but it rarely survives the first hour of a standard workday. This chart shows how the landscape is changing. As passive content consumption drops, the demand for verified action tracking is climbing. A recent survey found that 73% of Gen Z are tired of motivational content and want tools that hold them accountable for real execution. We are seeing the end of the high-intensity hustle culture that dominated the early 2020s. The data shows that once you pass the 50-hour workweek, your productivity per hour drops off a cliff. This performative approach to growth leaves people feeling stuck. You push harder and harder, but the results remain stagnant, leading to a sense of exhaustion rather than achievement. Consuming optimization tips without a system for verified action is a comforting illusion. It feels like progress, but it only speeds up the path to burnout. In 2026, the focus has shifted towards sustainable performance. People are trading the aesthetics of the grind for protocols that can be verified and maintained. We are going to conduct an objective ROI analysis on the biological, psychological, and environmental protocols currently leading the market to see which ones are actually worth your time. We'll measure every trend against these three criteria: the required input, the verified outcome, and the hidden trade-off that usually gets left out of the marketing. Since your daily bandwidth is a finite resource, you need hard data to decide where to invest your energy, rather than just following whatever is currently trending on your feed. We start with the biological baseline, specifically sleep optimization and cold water immersion. Optimizing your sleep requires a heavy daily input. It means rigid 8-hour tracking and sacrificing late-night leisure time. Researchers like Matthew Walker have proven it's the most significant performance tool we have, but it demands total lifestyle adjustment. Cold water immersion requires a different kind of input: acute daily physical discomfort. This has moved from a niche biohack to a mainstream group practice because people are seeking ways to build mental resilience through high-friction routines. The verified outcomes include normalized physical performance, better cardiovascular health, and reduced inflammation. You are essentially tuning the engine before you try to drive. But there is a hidden trade-off: the willpower tax. Both of these habits require a significant mental effort the moment you wake up. That friction never goes away. The water is always cold, and the choice to go to sleep early is always a sacrifice. This makes these habits highly fragile if your discipline wavers even slightly. Biological protocols provide the physical infrastructure for everything else. They require relentless daily discipline, but without them, the psychological systems we'll discuss next become significantly harder to sustain. The second category is about rebuilding your brain's focus and your internal sense of identity. Modern dopamine management requires moving past the one-off detox and into permanent lifestyle restrictions. You have to actively reduce high-stimulation activities on a continuous basis in order to keep your brain's reward sensitivity high. Digital minimalism is equally demanding. Practitioners are now tracking their screen time publicly and slashing it to an average of just 2.1 hours a day, far below the standard 7-hour average. Then there is the shift toward identity-based patterns. This framework, popularized by James Clear, has seen a 170% spike in mentions because it replaces outcome-based goals with identity. You aren't trying to run a marathon, you are becoming a person who runs every day. The outcome is a restoration of your natural reward pathways and a significantly higher capacity for deep, uninterrupted work. There is also a social outcome. In young professional circles, being disconnected and disciplined with your phone has become a new status symbol of authenticity. The hidden trade-off is severe psychological withdrawal. You will face long periods of acute boredom and a very real risk of feeling socially alienated when you aren't constantly online. Reclaiming your focus means trading the frictionless comfort of scrolling for the uncomfortable reality of managing your own boredom. The final category moves away from private effort and into high-stakes, community-driven accountability infrastructures. This requires joining micro-communities, highly curated groups of 4 to 8 people, rather than getting lost in massive anonymous online forums. This chart shows why these small groups are dominating. Micro-communities maintain a 78% retention rate over 6 months, while large groups drop to just 12%. The personal nature of the group makes the social obligation impossible to ignore. These groups rely on proof-based achievement. You provide mandatory verification, like GPS logs or time-stamped photos. This creates a gamified environment fueled by autonomy, competence feedback, and direct social connection. The outcome is a level of intrinsic motivation that isolation can't provide. You stay consistent because the cost of failing your peers is too high. But the trade-off is a total loss of privacy and anonymity regarding your goals. You no longer have the option to quit quietly. If you fail to hit your target, your entire inner circle sees it immediately. For many, that public failure is far more painful than the work itself. Lasting accountability works because the reputational cost of failing those around you finally outweighs the temporary comfort of doing nothing. The most important reality check is this: you cannot adopt all 10 of these trends at once. Doing so is a guaranteed way to trigger an immediate system failure. Match your bottleneck with the exact protocol stack you need today. Burnout profiles should avoid high-pressure accountability, focusing on biological baselines to reset. Procrastinators need proof-based tracking and micro-communities to force motion. Distracted optimizers must prioritize digital minimalism and rigorous dopamine management. Find your bottleneck. Choose the one verified system that addresses it, accept the daily friction involved, and start the work. Lasting self-improvement in 2026 depends on your willingness to trade the illusion of progress for the unglamorous, exposed reality of actual work.